Being fully transparent, guys, this was probably the worst reading month I've had since I started this channel, but lots of other great things happened about it, so let's talk about those. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another monthly wrap-up, this time for March of 2024, as we are one quarter of the way through 2024 already. Can you believe it? Is it going by as fast for anybody else as it is for me? It's just wild. It's just wild. In the springtime, guys, I hate it. I hate it. Allergies are going crazy. So if I sneeze a lot during this video, you have been warned. But let's get right into it, guys. Let's talk about what I read in March. Kind of a mixed bag here. I read one novel. I read two novellas. I read 1/3 of a novel. And I read about half of another. Are you confused? Me too. I'm not even sure I said all that right. Let's kind of break it down piece by piece here. So the one novel, that was Stones of Light by Zach Argyle. That's book number 2 in the Threadlight series. And I liked what he did there. Lots of good growth for some of those characters. My biggest complaint about book number 1 was Alvarax not having very much of development, just kind of showed up out of nowhere. But you get that big time in this book, and I felt like it helped that speed that along, gave him some agency, and it actually made me understand and sympathize and actually root for that character a little bit more. So I never really disliked him. I was just kind of confused by him in book number 1. I think those problems have been ironed out, and I think everything is set up really, really well for the finale here. Lots of interesting things going on with Chris. I have no idea what is going to happen with Laurel. So I'm interested to see what it goes, because I've heard that the third book does give you all those answers that you have pretty much in those first 2 chapters of book number 1. If you know, you know. And I'm excited to find out how he does wrap that up. But a very underrated series, I think, for sure. It is much better than just the Mistborn Light that some people sell it as. I think it is very much stands on its own. But I do think Brandon Sanderson fans are going to enjoy the series quite a bit. 2 novellas, A Blackwater, number 5 and 6 by Michael McDowell. I did do an extended review for Blackwater and why I thought it was just amazing. But I just couldn't stop. You know, I read, I think, volume 3 and 4 kind of at the end of February, and then like the first couple days of March. I did knock out the rest of that series, so I really did enjoy that. Shogun, parts 4 through 6. That's the third one. Now that is as long. That little bit of Shogun right there was longer than Stones of Light. So I mean, I think you see that I might say I might have had a kind of a dismal reading month, but still that was like 500 pages in Shogun. But absolutely amazing. I gave Shogun my book of the month back in January, so it's not eligible anymore. But if I hadn't at this point, it would be now, because just an incredible ending, and it completely blows your mind. And having watched the 1980 miniseries before reading this, I knew how it ended, but it's just even better the way that it's done in the book. And it's just like, wow, what I guess you say kind of a Batman moment. And if you know, again, I hate to say if you know twice in one video, but hey, if you know, you know. Now I've said it 3 times. I do really appreciate where Clavel went with that. I know there's a lot of people that were upset, that you didn't get that big battle at the end. But I think with Clavel, it was like, the history. This story is about characters. It was never about the big battles or the epic sword fights, although the ones that are there are really, really awesome. But very, very happy with that book, and it makes me very anxious to continue with the Asian saga down the road. The half of the novels, I'm reading Priest of Lies by Peter McLean right now. It's book number 2. In the War for the Rose Throne. And I hit a huge snag. We've been doing these home renovations, if you guys haven't been keeping up with that. Talked about it more in the weekly updates. And it completely just demotivates you guys, because it's just for every single setback, it just completely demoralizes you, and you feel like your sanctuary, your home, has just been completely invaded upon with people working in it, or just things being incomplete. And we went without our kitchen for, gosh, guys, 6 weeks. We went without floors for a few days, because we're having the flooring done. So it's self-imposed. We did this. We wanted this done. It just took a little longer than expected. But it did actually officially finish this afternoon. And so we don't know what to do with ourselves. It's just kind of a few mop-up things here, crossing some T's and dotting some I's here and there. That's what we'll be done. But that has kind of contributed to this very slumpy month that I had. On top of that, guys, I got hit with the virus that shall not be named. So it really did hurt my my reading output this month, and I've just kind of really just had a hard time. I haven't picked up a book since Wednesday. That's the longest stretch for me, and again, since I started this channel. So hoping that now that this is done, I can get my daily routine back to normal, and I can get back into my reading rhythm. So very much shorter list to choose from as usual. But let's go ahead and pick that book of the month, guys. I feel like if you have watched the weekly updates, if you've listened to anything that I've said in the past, I don't know, since January, so I guess since the calendar rolled over to 2024, you know that my book of the month was going to be Blackwater by ℚ𝕦𝕣𝕠𝕜𝕤. Now, it was weird because I had to, I broke it up over months, and I had to finish 3, 4, 5, and 6 all together because it was just so dang good. I couldn't wait another moment. With this, guys, like I said, I did an extended review on the channel, so if you want to know more, but I'll give you the gist here if you don't want to watch that. What makes this so amazing is his character work is second to none. I felt like this is every bit as good as what Stephen King does, every bit as good as what Robert McCammon does, what Robin Hobb does, is he takes this family and he gives you 3 generations of them in this Southern Gothic atmosphere and tells an incredible story in a way that where this cast just keeps getting larger and larger, because kids, and it just gets just better and better, and you feel like every single character shows up. Their time on the page is earned. I never once felt like that character needs to get off the page or something like that. But just an amazing atmosphere, an amazing story, and there's so many things about it that some people be like, yeah, what really was the plot there? Doesn't matter. It's not that kind of story. This is one of those where you're just slice of life. You're growing up and living with these characters, and there is an overarching theme going on, and it's up to you to kind of figure that out. But characters come and go, because some are dying, some of natural causes, and some not so much. So maybe you're sticking around a little longer after that, if you catch my meaning. But I felt like never is the supernatural or the horror kind of overshadowing this, because this is listed as a horror book. But guys, I feel like you don't have to like horror to get into this story. It is very much a family drama with some supernatural elements kind of floating around. So, I mean, obviously, right off the bat, this girl who showed up in town, something ain't right with her. So we as the reader know the whole time. But the Caskey family, they don't know what's going on, and it's going to go through generations. 50 years this book goes through, and you grow with these characters. And you think about where some of these characters are when it starts and where it ends, if they're still around, let's put it that way. It's just an amazing journey, guys. This is going to be a book of the year candidate for me, without a doubt. This right now in Shogun, it's like flip a coin, and that coin is landing on its side right now. It is a 2-horse race at this moment. But this is one of the best books I have read since I started this channel. This and Shogun. It's right up there with like Lonesome Dove and Swan Song for me, which have been, my last 2 books of the year. So just an amazing, amazing ride. And I'm going to read anything I can get my hands on by ℚ𝕦𝕤𝕠𝕠𝕜 going forward, because I don't know how this guy is such a hidden gem. Like, you look on BookTube, there's a few people who've talked about Blackwater, but not very much. But it seems like everyone who has read this story just gushes about it, and you can add me to that list now. I am going to gush about this forever. I want everyone to read this. I don't care if you don't like horror. I don't give a damn. You're going to love this, guys, if you just like amazing characters. And his prose isn't too bad. I think you guys will be quite happy with the way that he does write. So watch that extended review if you get a chance. You want to know more about it. It's spoiler free, but guys, this is a journey I feel like everyone should take, and that is why it is my book of the month for March, guys, and it wasn't particularly close. This was a runaway victory, and this is a book I am going to champion for a long, long time, because it is just chef's kiss. It's amazing, guys. I think you'll love it. So check out Blackwater, guys, by ℚ𝕦𝕤𝕠𝕠𝕜, my book of the month for March of 2024. Let's move along to some channel growth here. Had some nifty little things happen. Now, obviously, January, February, every new year, that when you turn the calendar, the things slow down. The algorithm resets. At least I think it does. And it isn't just me. It's you talk to every YouTuber, they'll tell you, yeah, first quarter every year is always a struggle. I expected that. It doesn't make it easier. But the way I looked at it was, well, hey, there's only room to go up, and up it did. In March, everything kind of went back up. So 2,744 new subscribers. That is up 728 from February. Did have a video that kind of, just like last month with Pillars of the Earth, I had a video that kind of popped up in the algorithm somehow, the Google algorithm rather, and lots of people got eyes on it, which is very rare for my Stephen King content, which I'll talk about in a minute. 529,000 total views. That's up 108,000 from February. And 65,000 hours watched. That's up 10,000 from February. So again, guys, 3 green arrows in those categories as a content creator. always what you want to see. Like I said, I'm trying not to put a damper on it by saying, hey, look, there was nowhere to go but up after the abysmal January and February. But hey, the channel is still growing. That's always awesome. But yeah, these arrows did have nowhere to go but up, and I'm glad they are going up, and I'm glad you guys are still hanging around with me. Let's move along to some of the most popular content in March. Had 13 full-length videos this month, 2 book trailers, as I'm calling them, 1 short-form video, and 1 live stream. Looking at the top 5, as it were, The Long Walk by Stephen King. 35,000 views. Something weird about that, right? Yes, my Stephen King content, guys, I have a loyal group of constant readers who do watch my Stephen King content only. That's the only reason that they're here. But my Stephen King stuff never gets that kind of viewing, especially not, immediately. So it's one of those things, just like with pills, or somehow I feel like it's popping up in the Google algorithm, because if you go and you look at the analytics, you're getting a lot of viewers, but they're not watching for very long. So I think it just comes up if someone would search The Long Walk by Stephen King, and my video would pop up, and they'd be, what's this guy about? And they're probably like me. When I first started this, hey, I didn't know this, people talking about books on YouTube was a thing. But I'm glad that obviously it gets new eyes on the channel. But also, a lot of people are still interested in picking up The Long Walk, because that is an amazing, amazing Stephen King story. And I feel like anyone who has read it knows, but it does still feel like only the hardcore Stephen King fans have read it. And guys, he wrote that when he was a teenager. Just amazing, amazing book. I did a video about the Dune sequels, because I noticed something that when the movie came out, Dune Part 2 came out, is all my old Dune content was starting to get more comments and more views, obviously, because people were getting interested in reading the book for the first time. And a lot of the comments I was seeing was things like, yeah, it's too bad that all of the Dune sequels sucked. And I was like, really? Do people really feel that way? Look, I have some issues with some things, but I was like, all of them suck? I mean, I don't think so. Obviously, Dune is my favorite, the first book. So I made a video about, no, all of the Dune sequels do not suck. And I talk about what I like and why I think that maybe you would like them, or maybe not. I talk about, are they for you? Because they are very different than that first book. That has 33,000 views as of this recording, and I think that's just, obviously there's lots of interest because of the new movie, and that's cool. So, you can get accused of writing that sandworm. To me, I was brought on out of nowhere just because I was getting so many new comments about how everyone thought that the Dune sequel sucked, and I was here saying, no, they don't. No, they don't. It's like, if you go into it expecting Dune Messiah to be just the sequel to Dune, yeah, you'll probably be disappointed. So I'll tell you, read Dune Messiah, read Children of Dune together. That, to me, is a true sequel to Dune. And to me, I'll tell people all the time, yeah, I'd probably stop after God Emperor, because I feel like that latter story is not concluded by Frank, and I don't consider anything that Frank didn't write actually canon. But that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Again, I tell people in that video, if you were looking for someone to say that the Brian Herbert stuff is good, that was not the video for you. But I'm always happy to talk about Dune. That's why I also did a Dune Part 2 spoiler talk with my good friend and amigo, the author of Sun Eater, Christopher Rocchio. We talked about that for 2 hours, and we talked some book spoilers for the later books, because we wanted to talk about, if they make Dune Messiah, what we think they will and will not adapt into that movie, because there are some changes to how certain characters and certain events to going forward that we think would change for Dune Messiah, and we talked about that. I'll be honest, guys, I was a little disappointed that people were so mean to Christopher in the comments, because my channel's always been about having a difference of opinion is okay. So I was shocked to see so many people mad that Christopher didn't love the movie as much as others. Look, I love the movie. I have my nitpicks, but I love the movie. Christopher, he's very hard to please on those things, and he's very honest about that. But I did say in that video, as book fans, we're going to nitpick this. It didn't mean we didn't like the movie. So we got lots of nasty comments, and they're mostly angled towards Christopher, and I hate that, because I want guests to feel like they are welcome to come on my channel and not feel attacked. But the internet's going to do what it does, and when you talk about movies, it seems like you can bring out the worst of the worst a lot more than you will, with a book. But that had 14,000 views, so thank you to all you who did listen to us ramble for 2 hours about that movie. February 2024 book haul has 12,000 views. Again, I don't know what else to say that I haven't already told you. Book hauls are popular for a reason. People love to see new books. They love to see beautiful editions like this and say, I've got to get a hold of that. That's where the point of the book hauls for me. To say thank you for the things that people send to me and show off beautiful new editions that people can add to their library and see what they're like without having to guess, is that picture on Amazon actually accurate? I feel like that does help out people a lot. And then also with 12,000 views, I did my new series, I'd like to begin in 2025. Now, I know a lot of people think that's early. I always do this video first quarter every single year because I like to say these are the series that are on my radar based off of your feedback or maybe some of your suggestions, recommendations. These may or may not be on that permanent ink thing that I do in November where I actually make it official which series I'll be reading in the next year. So I actually amped it up a little this year. I usually do about 10. I did 20 this year, 20 new series, and I did all different categories: historical fiction, I did westerns, I did sci-fi, I did thrillers, I did everything in that. So I expanded that a little bit this year, but it's always fun looking forward. I mean, I think I'm that meme where the guy's like going like this and looking at that girl that's walking by. That's me. I'm reading something, I'm always doing that, looking at the next book that I'm reading. I do that with the next year as well. So I have left myself a little open this year, to move some things around and be a little bit more of a mood reader, as it were. But it doesn't mean I'm not looking ahead to the future, guys. I work in, forecasting and risk analysis. I'm always looking 12 to 15 months in advance. So it's never too early for me. And again, that's just to kind of generate some conversation, maybe get some series on my radar that I didn't before. Like, guys, I remember when I made that video a couple years ago, and you guys really went all in on Drizzt, and you know what? Drizzt got on my TBR that next year. So I do read all the comments on there, even if I don't have time to respond to all of them. I do read them, and I'm glad that you guys did like that video and did give me a lot of feedback. I am taking notes, always taking notes. Some of my favorites that didn't make the cut. Obviously, I talked about my Blackwater review, but also my Empire the Dan review. That's book 2 in the Empire series by Jay Kristoff. Look, reviews are still hit or miss on this channel. I have some that somehow weirdly get into some weird algorithm and they get a lot of views, like Long Walk, but look, I love doing them. And something I've started doing is bringing back those reading introductions, those excerpts, those book trailers, I guess you would say, in those reviews, because I want to make them feel special. And I want people to understand I have the word book reviews in my channel title. I'm never going to stop doing them. But I do wish that they could trump up some of the interest that they did when I first started this. But I do want to get back to doing like one book review per week. And it's something that I feel like I can do very, very happily. Results be damned. It's something that I want to do because I do feel like it is more of an art now than a science, as in if people are going to be interested in watching it. But I want to make sure that I do provide that outlet for people who are looking for it. Like how I just said, how there's not very many people that talk about Blackwater. That's why I wanted to do it. I wanted to get that out there because I want more people to discover that book. So I will forever be a public servant in that regard. And also, Empire of the Damned is really good, guys. I hope you guys are reading. How about some channel goals before I go here for April? Look, just get my mojo back. I said I feel like this being done now, maybe I can get back into a regular routine, feel like life is normal again, and I can get that headspace back when I'm at home to actually read or to want to read. Those home renovations are finally done. Thank baby Jesus. I can finally get back to work on my real life now. But, I changed up my TBR for April and get some more non-sci-fi fantasy books. I got some westerns on there. I got a thriller on there. Just to kind of change it up. To kind of feel like, okay, I can get this out of myself. I always say change genres if you're struggling on something. Change genres for a while. And I said I think I need to get away from some of these thick, epic fantasy and deep, deep, dense sci-fi books for a minute and see if that can kind of cleanse my palate, reset the modem. Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on? That's what I'm doing right now. So hopefully that will work. But I'd also like to get back to doing some collabs. I only did one last month, that Dune Part 2 spoiler discussion. I know there are some couple of things that I did have. I think Library of a Viking and I, we were going to get together and do a talk about nothing. Our schedules just, it's more my fault than his. He said yes a couple times, and I just keep forgetting to follow up. So I'm bad with that. But again, I just feel like I'm getting my life back in order right now, and I can get my schedule rolling the way that it used to and get back to doing some collabs. I don't know. I've had lots of people ask if Philip and I are going to be doing collaborative One Piece videos since the old crew kind of fell apart. Haven't really talked about it yet. But I think maybe Philip and I, instead of doing every arc, maybe we'll get together each saga and talk about those things. I don't know. I haven't talked with Philip about that at all yet. But Philip and I are going to continue to read them together. And I'm excited to do that because I'm right there at Skype. Everybody says it's just amazing. And I can't wait to see what happens. But guys, that was the month of March. What was your book of the month for March. I would love to know what's a video that I made that you really, really did appreciate, man. This is something that would be awesome to hear. What's something that I did you didn't like? It's cool. I love the criticism. That's how I learn, guys. I learn from your feedback. So drop in the comments, guys, and let me know what those things are, and I will talk to you there.